Hello, hey guys. So today I wanted to talk about goals, and I feel like a lot of people are still not um, being specific with their goals enough. So everyone comes in, they're super amped, and they're like, "We want to be fit. I want to be healthy," and that's just not enough to get you to where you need to be. So very often, a very vague um, goal means a very vague result. So very often we sort of just phase out, we get bored, and then we don't feel like we've made any progress because of the fact that the goal is so specific. We end up just falling off the bandwagon, getting bored, or moving on to something else. And then eventually you wake up and you're like, I want to go again. And then we just repeat that cycle over and over again. So how to make a specific goal is what they call being smart. So specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant and time bound. So I'm going to quickly go through some of these things with you just so you've got a good measure of each. So specific, obviously being specific to the goal. So I know a lot of us are potentially working on a few things at a time, but just for the sake of honing down on one thing, let's try to do that. So I want to be fit could result in what does fitness mean to you? It could potentially mean I want to be a better runner or I want to be stronger. So that's something that you can look at yourself, just so fit doesn't mean this very broad aspect. So we're going to hone it down and be like, okay, fitness at this stage means to me that I want to get my back strength squat up. So I'm going to look at specifically getting my back strength squat up, my 1 max. It is 100 now. I want to make it 110. So there we've already made it a little bit more specific. Not saying that fitness is only one thing, but just for the sake of having a more specific goal, try only look at one thing at a time. So make it measurable. So we've already said we want to be specific and only look at one thing. We've looked at the back squat. We have a 1 max now at the moment of 100. We want to make it 110. That would be measurable. So then when I go for a 1 max and I've then turned it from 100 to 102, I've gotten closer to that goal. So there's ways of tracking it, there's ways of measuring it, there's ways of us actually celebrating small wins because we're getting closer to it. Attainable. So can you actually get to the goal? I don't want to make it so difficult that, for example, the time frame I've made myself is just so drastic, it's almost impossible to match. So I want my back squat now at the moment is 100. I want to make it 120 in a month. That's far too quick. I mean, unless, I don't know, you're doing something ridiculous or that's not actually your true 1 rep max. Obviously a realistic would give yourself, say, 3 to 6 months, depending on how often you're training, and that's obviously very personal to you, but make the goal achievable, make it attainable for your current working schedule, as well as is it an actual possible goal to begin with. So as a beginner, if my back squat was only 40, I wouldn't make it 120. I would obviously look at a smaller range so that I can move up and not feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I want the goal to actually feel like it's possible so that when I do achieve it, I can celebrate rather than when I don't achieve it, I feel like I've just failed. Make it relevant, so make it close to home, make it something that you are actually interested in doing. Obviously, a lot of people, you want to set a goal that actually means something to you rather than I just want to lose weight for my husband, or I want to lose weight because someone's called me fat. Make sure that it's close to you and that you actually want to achieve this goal, because at the end of the day you're going to be the one putting in all the work and you don't want it to be for someone else. You want it to be for you. So make it relevant to your motivation, make sure that you're having fun with it, but also make it relevant to your schedule. So don't set the goal like, I want to run a marathon, I need to run 20 hours a week, when realistically that's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. It's not relevant to your specific time schedule. So make sure that it is actually relevant, that you've found a motivation to do this, but you've also been relevant to your schedule. And then time bound, we've already touched on this, the time frame that you give yourself. And a lot of the times we've got these goals where I just want to be fit for life, I want to be healthy, I just want to be sort of disease free, and that's a great goal. Obviously we'd all love to be healthy, we'd all love to not have to suffer with diabetes and high blood pressure and things like that, but that's not going to make us really work for it. So set yourself smaller goals with actual time frames so that there's a little bit more fire, and that makes you move a little bit more. So say that's why we picked a specific goal, such as getting your back squat up. We've made it measurable, we've made sure that it's relevant and attainable, and now giving yourself a realistic time frame like 6 months is going to want to make you get up and go, okay, I've got this goal now. It's not 20 years down the line, it's right now. I've got to get up and I've got to go start squatting so that I can hit this goal. So smaller goals leading up to that fitness for life, health for life, that's also what's going to make you get up and keep healthy. Because after we've got this goal down, okay, cool, we've got our back squat, we've achieved this goal, win-win. Now let's look at a running goal, let's look at a gymnastic goal, let's look at doing something that we've never done before, maybe starting a new sport goal, and getting that up to a cool standard. So the list can go on as far as being healthy and fit for life is concerned, but making sure that that's not your only goal, so that, you know, if you take a month off, oh, I'm still healthy, it's fine. That's gonna slowly start getting your motivation down, and then you look and you haven't done anything for a couple of months, which is not the healthiest factor. So making sure that we can stay in our SMART goals, be specific, be measurable, stay attainable, stay relevant, and have a time frame to these smaller goals. Making sure that you're writing little lists of what you are actually willing to do for these goals, and write down this goal. I'd love it that you pop your goal in the group under this chat. Let me know what it is so that we can all cheer for you guys. At the moment, if you want to know my goal, I'm looking towards doing my first muscle up. I've actually obviously got quite a few goals in the mix, but at the moment I'm trying to work a little bit harder to get my gymnastic goals up. So one of the big goals is getting a muscle up, but one of the even further goals is being able to do Murph RX with a weight vest and everything. So therefore I need pull up endurance, which means that getting a muscle up being the closer goal would obviously be the push to get my gymnastics up as well. So if you look at it like that, I've got a slightly shorter goal to home, where that would be the muscle up, and then the very further away goal would be the pull-up endurance with pull-up and push-up endurance with a weight vest, which then would equal me to having to get stronger here so that I can get stronger there as well. So it's sort of all interlinked. So if you want a perspective of that, that's sort of what I'm looking at the moment. That's something that you can look at too in your own perspective. So I'm looking into bettering my running here so that in the long run I can better my running for maybe a shorter run into a longer run, or vice versa. Squatting, getting my squat up so that in the long run I can get my clean up as well. There's endless amounts. So if you want to have one or two goals in the mix, that's absolutely fine. If you obviously want to be looking at a shorter goal and doing a couple of shorter goals in the mix, but only working at one at a time, that's okay. But yeah, it's very personal to you. It's obviously very, very personal to where you're coming from as well. As a beginner, I wouldn't, as a true beginner, never having walked into a gym or doing very little beforehand, I wouldn't look into suddenly just going into doing Murph RX for an example, but I could look into doing one strict pull-up if I don't have one strict pull-up. So But if I'm a beginner to CrossFit and I come from a Navy background, then of course I can look into doing Murph RX, because then you're a machine. Awesome, guys. I hope this put a little bit more perspective into hand. I hope this helped. Let me know your goals. Let me know if you have any questions. Have an amazing weekend, guys, and have fun. Cheers.